Guys, good morning. It is the full moon today. Oh my goodness, it is the full moon in Gemini. And so here are some important things to know about this. Number one, during the full moon, parasite mating cycles are activated, which is, this is so interesting, right? So this is kind of like established science. I believe that everyone kind of knows that parasites mate with the lunar cycle. Okay, tiny parasite bodies that are so tiny inside of our bodies are so responsive to the moon cycles that it affects how their bodies work inside of all of the humans and all of the animals. Okay. And yet there is still confusion about if human bodies are affected by lunar cycles. Is this not so silly? Like, of course, we are clearly affected by this. If like the smallest little creatures inside of us are being affected, of course, we are also being affected, even if it's only by their being affected, but it's okay, whatever. Okay, here's the important thing about parasite mating cycles. Don't eat sugar, please. Do what it takes to just say no to sugar. I know Thanksgiving just happened. Maybe there's still some pie around. My recommendation is to not eat it. Don't eat it. Look at maybe a parasite cleanse instead. I won't recommend any right now, but Google it up. Come on, there's a great Facebook group called Human Parasites Support Network. It's gross, so brace yourself, but worth it, in my opinion. This is good knowledge to have, and a lot of people's health problems are really due to parasites. So the more you can become aware of them and know about them and work with them, or shall we say against them, the happier your life is going to be and the healthier you will be and the healthier your family will be. There's this big misconception that just because we live in America or like, anywhere in like the first world, that there's no parasites. Our lives are so clean. We use our hand sanitizer, so we have no parasites. But like, guess what? That is a lie. Many veterinarians recognize that if you have a pet, you have all the same parasites as your pet. The end. Okay. If you have animals, you have the same parasites as your animals. And beyond which, I know, so I have passed so many parasites ever since I started taking up parasite cleansing. I've done so many parasite cleanses. It is astonishing. But when I was a child, I would bite my nails till they bled for years. And I was not big into washing my hands. Like I'm talking like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. When I was like my first decade of life, I was a big nail biter and my hands were dirty. Well, guess what's in the dirt? Parasite eggs. Come on. Like, I don't know, if you have a child who is always like licking their hands, chewing their fingernails, a lot of times it has to do with parasites because your parasites, this is part of like the parasite mating cycle as well. If you've ever heard of, I think it's called toxoplasmosis, the common parasite in cats, there's been research that shows that if you have cats, then you get infected with this parasite, but it alters your brain to want more cats. I believe I've read articles about this that I'm not going to find for you today, but you go look it up. You correct me if I'm wrong. But that's how a lot of these parasites work. They infect you and then they alter your brain function. And so one of the ways that parasites make themselves survive is by inspiring you to chew on your hands, to lick your hands. As grown-ups, we can be like, that's gross, and I choose not to do that. But little kids really don't have the self-control for that. And so when you see a kid who can't keep their hands out of their mouth, what they're doing is continually reinfecting themselves with more parasites and stuff like that, because they already have parasites. That can be like a big player in this. Of course, that's not the only reason why a kid will do that, but sometimes it is a reason. So anyway, okay, let's talk about how the full moon affects us on a spiritual level. Astrologically speaking, the sun represents your core personality, and then the moon represents like your inner heart and feelings. And so when you have a full moon, the moon and the sun are as absolutely far apart as these planets can get from each other, okay? And so on a spiritual level, what's happening is that's the greatest distance that you're going to have between your sense of self and your emotions. So if you are kind of a person who has trouble discerning between who you are and how you feel, this time of the month is the perfect time where the stars have literally aligned for you to have greater objectivity and clarity on the difference between who you are and how you feel. This is a very powerful time of the month to sit back and, I want to say, make some objective, like take an objective look, but also take a spiritual, emotional, intuitive look at what's going on in your heart, what's going on in your overall life, and what you want to get rid of. When the sun and moon are so far apart, it makes it easier to say goodbye to things. You know, the stuff that we had clung on to really tightly is stretched out. And we can take a look down the list and say, okay, this is what I want to clear. I don't need this anymore, and let it go. So this can be a really powerful time to set intentions on what you want to let go of. That's like the key thing for full moons. If you want to take like really good advantage of the full moon, I would say to make a list of 3 things that you're ready to say goodbye to in your life. And you don't have to like actually do anything about this at this time. I just write them down. And then you kind of like trust that in the future, you're going to naturally release these things off into the wild. Okay. So that's the thing that I love about new moons and full moons. I don't personally like force anything to happen. I just say, this is the thing that I would like to see in my life this month or whatever. And then I write it down and forget about it and notice later that it happened. Okay. So this is our easy peasy way of shifting our lives in alignment with the movement of the planets that God set up there to support us in all the things that we're doing. The fun thing about these planetary movements is that most people work with them whether they realize it or not. And so it's very possible that a lot of the times in your life where you were like, that's it, I'm done. Like, I am done with this pattern. I'm done with this, whatever. I would bet that a lot of times that happened within 3 days of the full moon. Anyway, okay, today we're going to be talking about our hands a little bit. So hopefully you've heard of like the cerebrospinal chakras that start at the base of your spine, end up right here on the crown. Those are not close to our only chakras. There are hundreds of chakras, if not thousands. Each of your nostrils has its own chakra. Okay, each of your teeth has its own chakra. There are chakras inside of chakras. Chakra is the Sanskrit word for vortex or wheel. In the Holy Bible, Ezekiel has a vision. In Ezekiel 1, he has a vision that a man's spirit is in his wheels, and he sees the wheels lined up like the Sanskrit chakras in the colors of the rainbow, which is exactly how the Sanskrit description of chakras is described. Okay, so I think this is really interesting. The Bible says the spirit is in those wheels, and those are the wheels, the cerebrospinal chakras along your spine up to your head. They're like the biggest ones. They like contain, I mean, they kind of contain like macro and micro files about each of the different things that they govern. But then, you know, each of your fingers will have its own chakra, or like chakra here, chakra here, chakra here. But you have hand chakras, and I don't have a specific hand chakra session, but I do have a hand fascia session. That is the one that I'm recommending for us today. That's what came up for us to work on for our ancestors tomorrow. Because our hands actually do a lot of things. When it comes to the hand chakra, the energy of your hand chakra is related to what you do. What do you do every day? So like clearly my hand chakra spend a lot of time typing on the keyboard, you know. But we're making cookies, we're cooking dinner, we're chopping stuff, we're chopping wood, we're driving our car, and our hand chakras are intimately involved in all of those things. A lot of times when people feel like they don't know what to do next, when they don't feel like they can accomplish the things that they want and need to accomplish, it comes down to the hand chakras and the functionality of the hand chakras. If the hand chakras are knotted up really tight, then they're not going to be very functional, and you're going to feel confused, stuck, unhappy. You're going to feel like no matter how hard you try, you can't move forward with the things that you're trying to do every day. When your hand chakras are open, then that shifts, and it becomes just a lot easier to do the things with your hands that you need to do. But like, we do a lot of things with our hands, right? So today I'm going to recommend the hand fascia session for yourself. Tomorrow we will work on it for our ancestors, but right this minute, I just want to invite us to do some little quick hand chakra exercises with our physical body. So chakras exist kind of in the body and out of the body at the same time. They are correspondent with our nervous ganglia. Okay, so all of, I mean, I love this. You know, the chakra skeptics, if you go and look at the human body, the places where the cerebrospinal chakras are, you know, along the spine, correspond to these spaces where there's like huge knots of nerves. Okay, like this is like the energy anatomy term for the physical anatomy of blobs of nerves. Okay, so we're dealing with the blobs of nerves in the hand, but the spiritual energy of it, which kind of goes around the hand. Okay, but particularly in my vision, like how I see them, they are more facing like that than like just like radiating about. Okay, so what I like to do for my hand chakras, I will tap, tap, tap and wake that up. But this is also really good. And see if you can feel this after you tap, tap, tap your hands. And just take your other hand and do little circles. Go the other way and see that it feels weird. Use the direction that feels right for you. And this is a good exercise to just kind of stir up that energy and open it up. Okay. Go the other way. See how weird it feels. Go up, go the correct way. Okay. See which way feels good for you. Rub your hands together. You can go ahead and put your hands out like this and just think about light shining down from our creator onto your hand chakras and just kind of opening them up. See them open up like flowers, okay? Whew. Breathe it in. Feel that good feeling. And okay, that's it for your hand chakras. Try out the hand session if you want to. The link is below. Tomorrow we'll do some of that for our ancestors. And I don't know, remember not to eat very much sugar today. Come on, you can do it. I believe in you. And yeah, go ahead and set aside some time. Think of 3 things that you want to let go of. What are 3 patterns you want to say goodbye to in your life? Write them down. This can be really good.